Hey everybody, today's October 11th, and today we're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin finally ripping out again after a couple days of consolidating around 55,000 and now making a move towards 60,000, right? And last time we left off, Bitcoin was just about breaking out from 50,000, and I talked about how I really wanted Bitcoin to hold 50,000, right? Because 50,000 is a level in which we tested multiple times, right? And for a long time we weren't able to hold it, right? Most recently it was in September, early September, where we had this huge flash crash and then the China ban crypto transactions, right? But we recovered and we had a nice surge. And our last video I talked about how I wanted us to break above this local resistance, which was set in early September before the big crash, right? The flash crash. This is around 53,000. I said that if we can break above and hold above, this would signal a strong reversal. And right now we're doing exactly that, right? Not only have we broken and held above 53,000, we consolidate over the past week, and now we're finally seeing a nice breakout towards 60,000. So the question is, are we about to see new all-time highs, or is Bitcoin, this is going to be just going sideways more or worse, going down, right? Before we begin this discussion, please read this disclaimer, and you can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so Bitcoin is looking really, really good right now. I talked about how really the only thing that I was concerned about, I'll pull up a clean chart here, is that in the past we had this bounce off this silver line, which is our weekly 50 moving average, right? And every time we bounce, every time we hit this silver line, we seem to bounce, and then we would fail to hold it, and then we would enter a bear market, right? So this is in 2018 bear market, and in 2014 we also had similar price action, right? The price hit the silver weekly, the 50 weekly moving average, bounced up and failed to hold, and then plunged even lower. And right now, what concerned me over the last couple weeks was that we had a similar price action, right? We had a big drawdown from all-time high, bounce off the 50 weekly, and I thought that if we had broken below, this would signal and enter to a bear market, right? But the fact that we rejected that and we held above the 50-day, the 50 week, and not only holding, but not even touched the line, and now we're having a strong bounce, not only higher but above the previous resistance over here, 53,000. So in my opinion, the probability of Bitcoin going a lot higher, attacking the previous all-time high, forming this beautiful ascending triangle before pushing up higher into new all-time highs, the probability is above 80% at this point, in my opinion, because Bitcoin, when it goes sideways and it coils right here, we're absorbing the supply, right? And let me pull up the Fibonacci lines so you have a better idea, right? These Fibonacci levels tend to act as strong support and resistance levels, right? We had our first correction back in January, held 30,000, and we held 30,000 again this summer when we had the China ban, crypto miners, right? And Bitcoin fell 55% from all-time high, 65,000, all the way down to just below 30,000, right? But we held 30,000, and this is our Fibonacci support level, right? And so these Fibonacci levels act as strong support resistance levels. When we came back above, not only our moving average, 200-day moving average, another strong resistance level when we broke below here, right? And we flipped support to resistance. Now we saw the Bitcoin price recover down up to 50,000, trying to stay above the 200-day, trying to flip that from resistance to support, and also trying to flip this Fibonacci level, which we of course broke over here when we plunged below from resistance to support. And this is why Bitcoin has such choppy price action over here. Now this choppy price action lasted a lot longer than I expected. I thought it would go sideways and then go up a lot higher, but we did end up going down below, retesting 40,000, just dipping a little bit below 40,000, right? A nice bear trap before just rocketing higher, right? So right now Bitcoin is trying to make a move towards 60,000. We had a bit of a consolidation over the weekend over here, just like we had over here before the nice breakout, right? So Bitcoin likes to do that, to consolidate, absorb supply before making the next leg higher. So Bitcoin right now looking really, really good. We're starting to see a bit more volume, which is great. We always want to see volume and price move proportionally and to the upward direction. That's going to give us more conviction that this is the bulls in control instead of distribution, right? And seeing the MACD, let's look at our oscillators. MACD looking really good, positive territory, strong histogram bars, starting to fade a little bit, but we want to see the histogram bars continue higher with darker green histogram bars. And yes, the RSI looking really good right now, right? We had this kind of downtrend, which also left me a little bit worried because this downtrend was happening as this uptrend was happening, right? So what we want to see is we wanted to see us break this downtrend, because last time we had a downtrend, this eventually led to a huge crash, right? So the fact that we've broken out of this downtrend, we want to see it hold above and continue up higher, right? Remember when we had that spectacular run last year, we were above the 70 RSI, right? And that is signaling strong buying momentum, right? Bullish momentum instead of distribution. So Bitcoin looking really good right now. Basically sideways for the year, but as it moves higher, and we're very close to the all-time high, right? The all-time high was set in April 15th, or sorry, April 14th over here, just below 65,000. And if we draw this line, right, we draw a percentage gain line, we would have to gain roughly 13 to 14%, right? So we're only 13 to 14% from the all-time high, which is really not that bad. And Bitcoin, it can move big, you know, it can move a lot bigger than like the traditional market. You know, Bitcoin is a lot more volatile than stocks on average. So it's possible that we can have like just one positive catalyst. You know, maybe Elon decides to accept Bitcoin for Tesla payments, right? Bitcoin as payment for Tesla cars, and we see a huge push. Any positive catalyst can really just ignite a huge bullish daily candle, right? So the point is, like, everything on the technical chart looking really good. The fundamentals have been looking great for a while, besides the whole China thing. But at this point, I think people have really priced that in. You know, people know that China is taking steps towards completely banning Bitcoin. I don't think that's really factoring into too much FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. At this point, there's really not much negative news. It's just been very strange because there's been so much positive fundamentals, and yet the price has been going sideways. So it finally seems like the price is catching up with the fundamentals, and the technicals look really strong. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to break out and go up a lot higher throughout the end of the year. And personally, I do think that the probability of Bitcoin hitting all-time high, or at least challenging the all-time high by the end of this month, is very high. And I think that once we break that, we'll have November and December to go up a lot higher, and this will of course look very similar to the 2013 double top, right, where we had a top in April, a mid-cycle correction of over 50%, and then a final pump up in by November and December of 2013, right, before the bear market. And I think we're seeing something very similar. We saw a pump up, peaking again in April, and then a 50% plus correction, and then a final pump to the upside by December of this year. So I think we're seeing something very similar to 2013. Again, you can look at the price action, right? 6 consecutive green candles, followed by a couple red candles, and then a final push up. 6 consecutive green candles here as well. So what we're seeing right now in the price action, it does look like we're seeing a similar price action to 2013 in terms of having a mid-cycle correction and one final blow off top, right? One final blow off top, well above 100,000, 300,000, who knows, right? We'll definitely get a clear idea as the price action develops going forward. But we looked at the technicals. Let's look at some of the on-chain data and the fundamentals, right? Fear and greed index looking really good. Greed, right? Some people might say, oh, it's overvalued. Not yet, right? Because when we saw Bitcoin run, we had a spectacular run last year from September, October to April, right? The fear and greed index was at elevated levels, right? Over here. So that doesn't mean like you need to immediately sell. What this means is that there's strong buying momentum coming in. So the bulls are in control. And on the opposite end, during a bear market, you'll see the fear and greed index at a very low depressed price for low depressed levels. The fear and greed index, not the price, for a long time, right? So this is like over a year over here. So during a strong sustained bull market, we want to see the fear and greed index at high levels, right? Above 80, above 90. Right now, the fear and greed index is only at 70. So there's still a lot of upside, right? There's still a lot of upside that Bitcoin could go up to before it starts to signal potentially overbought levels. But even then, right, that just means that the bulls are in control, the buyers are in control, and that's what we want to see. We're seeing the hash rate also starting to recover, right? Not yet at all-time highs that we set in April 14, which was coincidentally also the or not coincidentally, like it is the all-time high, right, April 14th, and we want to see Bitcoin hash rate continue to recover and push up high, and then continue up and blaze higher into new all-time high hash rate. Let's look at some models. A 2-year multiplier, right? 2-year multiplier tells us to sell when the price of Bitcoin goes above this orange-red line and becomes shaded. So far, we haven't even hit that level, right? We haven't, even in our our mid-cycle top in April of this year, we didn't even hit that line. We kind of reached the upper boundary before plunging 55%, but right now we're in neutral territory. And as Bitcoin continues to recover and starts to move its way towards reclaiming the previous all-time high around 65,000, we'll see the upper band continue to go up a lot higher, and we'll see the price. And what that means is that the final top, when this model tells us that Bitcoin is overbought and it's time to sell, this upper boundary is going to be a lot higher, so it's going to give us a potentially higher exit signal. So looking very good, a lot of upside. Price cycle top indicator also. Price cycle top indicator is looking very bullish. When we see the green line above the orange line and the price is within this channel, it tends to tell us that the price will likely go up higher. We can see over here, right? Green above orange, price in between this channel. Green above orange, price above this channel. And as the price goes up higher, it's going to drag. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. It's going to drag this orange line in a lot higher too. So it's going to become steeper, and eventually this orange line will cross this green line and give us a exit signal similar to. So this is an example 2017 where the orange line crosses above the green line and gives us an exit signal. But it does seem like there's a lot of upside before that happens, because you can see how far apart these bands are, right? So the upper band, like I said in the 2-year multiplier, this upper band will continue to go a lot higher. Let me just see if I can zoom in on that. This upper band right now is at 79,000. So this upper band will continue to go up higher as Bitcoin recovers, and eventually it'll cross over this green line and will overshoot just like we saw in the previous cycles over the last 10 years. And this will give us a higher exit signal than the green band, right, as it overshoots, right? Pull multiplier tells us that Bitcoin is overvalued when this red line crosses into this red shaded area, right? We haven't even touched that area yet, so a lot of upside left before this model tells us that price of Bitcoin is overbought. Golden ratio multiplier, right? Golden ratio multiplier tells us that Bitcoin is overbought when it touches this dotted line. Now this dotted line will only print if it goes above this purple line, right? And we actually saw a dotted line print when it hit this purple line, but since Bitcoin had that retracement down to this gold line, 55% retracement, the dotted line disappeared. So right now there's still a lot of upside, right? And like I said, as Bitcoin continues to recover, these bands will continue to go up higher, giving us a higher potential exit signal as the price of Bitcoin overshoots, right? So still a lot of upside, right? This is at the lower boundary, and yeah, finding strong support along this orange line, right? In a bear market, it would cross below this orange line and continue down lower. So still a lot of upside before this model tells us that the price of Bitcoin is overbought and to sell. Logarithmic growth curve tends to rocket as it gets to the 50-50 line, right? So here the gold line is the median line, and if you look at the pass, once it breaks above this orange, the median line, it tends to become parabolic and it's rip higher, right? Over here and over here. So right now we're above that line, and you can kind of see this by this maroon red line telling us that it's near the 50 mark, right? The 50% mark. Once we break above the 50% mark, it tends to rocket higher, right? Parabolic moves, and then once it hits or overshoots 1, that's when we want to. That's telling us that Bitcoin is likely overbought and it's time to sell, right? So still a lot of upside, right? We're pretty much in the middle of this line, so a lot of upside. And if this does, this model is telling us by the end of the year, if Bitcoin does hit this upper boundary, it'll be around 150,000, right? So Z-score again telling us that this red maroon line, once it hits this shaded red area, that is when we want to sell. That's when Bitcoin is overbought, right? So far we haven't even hit that area yet, so there's still a lot of upside, guys. A lot of upside. All these models are telling us that we're likely in a mid-cycle correction, about to attack and reclaim the all-time high before going up higher. Previous all-time high before going up a lot higher, right? Stock to flow model, everybody's favorite, right? Stock to flow model telling us that the price of Bitcoin should be around this red maroon area, right? We're still below it, and you can see that by this variance or deviation chart, graph line over here, telling us that the price of Bitcoin should be above this black line, and once it hits above that black line, it turns red, and from green to red, and that's when Bitcoin is possibly overbought and we want to take some profits, right? But still a lot of upside left, right? So we look at this model, you can see that price of Bitcoin tends to overshoot once it breaks above the red line, right? Over here, 2017, 2013, and possibly will overshoot if we just look at the past and kind of eyeballing it, probably at least above 200,000, right? 200, 300,000, who knows? We'll get a bit we'll get a clear picture once we get towards the end of this year and the price of Bitcoin explodes above this red line, right? So the red lines are about 80,000. So it's telling us that Bitcoin should go up at least above 80,000. But we follow the price of Bitcoin based on this model in the past bull market cycles. This should peak around 200, 300,000. So, but I definitely have to look at the price action going forward to get a better picture, clearer picture, idea of where the price might end up, telling us where it's overbought and to take profits, right? So anyways, technicals, fundamentals, everything's looking really good, right? Everything's telling us that there's still a lot of upside. We had a spectacular move. Bulls have come in and defended our support levels, right? So we defended 50K. I don't want to see Bitcoin ever go below 50K again. You know, I want to see is like we spent so much time not only breaking above and holding above 50K, right? But now it does seem like Bitcoin is making a big move towards 60,000, and hopefully for the last time, we don't need to see Bitcoin go down to 50,000, right? So obviously the next resistance level, major resistance level, is going to be 60,000, right? We saw some resistance around 60,000 around this level, right? So it's especially around here. You can see that the price of Bitcoin went up here and then it got rejected off 60,000 and plunged, right? So I think 60,000 is going to be the next major resistance level, and then of course the all-time high of 65,000. And once we break through 65,000, I think that this thing will start to goes parabolic up to the next major resistance level, which is of course this Fibonacci, the next Fibonacci resistance level, which is 80,000, right? Around 80,000. And I think 80,000, and then of course 100,000 is the next one. And once Bitcoin breaks 100,000, I can see just pure FOMO like we saw in 2017, right? Like we saw in 2017, and I don't know if you guys were here in 2013, but that was my first cycle in 2013. I know I was in college at the time. I was young. You know, I didn't have that much money, but it was exciting to like see a new asset class just go crazy and push up higher, right? And of course, the 2014 bear market was pretty brutal too. But it's cool to be on my third market cycle and see this thing go up a lot higher. In my opinion, above 100, easily above 100, 200 or 300,000, maybe even 400,000. But of course, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves right now. We just want to take this one step at a time. Things are looking really bullish right now, and I can see Bitcoin I can see the FOMO just running like we saw in late 2017 and 2013, where people who don't trade crypto, people who don't really trade, they see their friends making money and they want to come in. And that's when you want to start to be more cautious, right? Because you don't want to buy when everyone is buying. That's when you want to think about selling. We can see that over here. That's where the complete like pandemonium comes in, right? People start to buy it up and just blindly push the price up. And we see parabolic moves like we saw here in 2017, late 2017, late 2013. And it always followed by a bear market, right? The dumb money, as they call it, always gets burned by the smart money as the smart money sells. And then we had this catastrophic bear market. So are we going to see a huge pump by the end of the year and then a bear market next year? That's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to use the models that I just went through, right, to help me time my exit when we reach those levels. But right now, Bitcoin it's waiting, it's going sideways, storing this energy like a spring, right? And as it goes sideways, absorbing the supply until the demand far outweighs the supply and the price is forced to explode higher. And I think that that's going to be like the next catalyst as smart money takes supply off the market, and we'll see the price of Bitcoin just explode higher. And during a parabolic move, like Bitcoin can do things that people might think is unthinkable. We can see 100% moves in a day. You know, that happened in 2017, right? Once Bitcoin broke 10,000, it went up to just below 20,000 within like a week or two, right? It was so fast, it was so crazy. In fact, there was so much buying that like exchanges you would get logged out of your accounts, right? It would just shut down and crash, and there's just so much buying. So Bitcoin right now is looking very good. It's not in that quiet period, right? Like we were earlier this year, which was the best time to buy, right? We're getting close to the all-time high, so people are getting excited again. But once we break all-time high, and especially when we break 100,000, I can see like just people going crazy, the price just going parabolic, and that's when you want to start being more cautious and think about your exit strategy, right? One last thing before I let you guys go. Of course, we saw a golden cross early this year with the 50-day crossing the 200-day, which is the silver line crossing the blue line, right? And that's usually very bullish in the long term because the opposite was the death cross over here, right? And of course, we went down. But not only that, but now the 100-day is about to cross the 200-day soon. And when that happens, we'll have a bullish posture of the moving averages, which is a silver line above the gold line above the blue line, the 50-day above the 100-day above the 200-day, right? Once that happens, once the gold line crosses the blue line, we'll have that bullish stack again. 50-day above the 100-day above the 200-day, right? Or the silver above the gold line above the blue line. And once that happens, we can see a spectacular rise, right? Up to 100,000 and beyond. So just be cognizant of this upcoming event where this goal line is about to cross the blue line, and we'll see if that happens by should happen in the next couple of days. So by our next video, that should happen, and then we should see the price explode higher. But who knows? Anything can happen. We don't want to get too excited, because when we get too excited, we could get disappointed. But right now, Bitcoin looks like it's in the middle of breaking out from this consolidation period and ready to reclaim the all-time high, but it's got 60,000 resistance before we hit 65,000, and once we break all-time high, which I believe we can get to by the end of this month, right? We're only 11 days into the month, so there's still a lot of time to break up higher. And once we do that, I think that there's going to be excitement, and then 80,000, 100,000, and once we get 100,000, like anything's possible, right? So so a lot of exciting times, very bullish on Bitcoin going forward, and I can't wait to update you on the price action going forward. Yeah. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, useful, informative, please like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for updates. I appreciate all your support. Thank you again, and have a great day.